Hello and welcome to the Fall 2024 Project 100 session. As we're waiting for everyone to join us this evening, I'm just going to give you some updates on upcoming events that are happening at Northwood and specifically for our alumni and friends. We've got the ongoing Freedom Seminar. We've changed the Freedom Seminar, so they offer a weekly session, and most of them are recorded, and you can view all of those online. So I encourage you to check that out. We've sent a few emails out to our alumni on our Freedom Seminar sessions. The last two sessions were on tax and entitlement reform. The final session is on public education and student debt. So real good stuff. So I encourage you to check out those seminars. Our Alumni November webinar is with our own Dr. Ituma, and it's called Boosting Productivity Using AI Copilot. So if you're interested in learning more about AI and how it can help with your daily tasks, I encourage you to join us next Thursday, November 21st. And I see Robin's putting those things in our chat as well. So feel free to check out the chat room. And also coming up, Northwood Alumni Holiday Party in Metro Detroit at Cawley Ferrari in West Bloomfield. Both Jeff Cawley and Joe Cawley are both Northwood alumni, and they host us at their beautiful retail Ferrari store. So hopefully you can join us there. That's on Thursday, December 5th. On campus, we have Winter Wonderland. We've been hosting Winter Wonderland on campus for, I don't know, maybe 5 years now. And we do horse and wagon rides through campus. The campus is all lit up. And we do that for our students and for our community. And we do have sponsorships still available. They start at just $100. And for our $250, you can actually get a light post banner, personalized light post banner. So I encourage you to look at those opportunities if you are interested in sponsoring the event or joining us at one of the Winter Wonderlands, which start December 10th. The Idea magazine was just released, so I encourage you to look in your mailboxes for that magazine to be in your mailboxes soon. I think we can get started. We've got a good number of participants online. So again, welcome to all of our Project 100 members. We've got three awesome project submissions to present to you this evening. As a reminder, each group is going to introduce themselves. I will introduce them, they'll introduce themselves, we'll show their video. And then we'll get through all three groups, and then we'll open it up for Q&A after all three groups have gone. Please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen to submit your questions. You could submit a question to a specific group or to all groups. So please utilize that function. And again, we'll leave around 15 minutes for Q&A after all three presentations have been completed. We are recording this, so we'll send this out afterwards as well. And I think we can get started. So our first project tonight is Rake a Difference, which happens during Go Mad Day. I've got Spencer Corson here, who is the advisor for that project, and Stephen Hackbarth, who is the student presenter. And I'm going to let them say a little bit more before we roll that video.
All right, so Student Affairs is looking to supercharge our Go Mad Day like never before. So we are seeking to get more leaf blowers to help our university-wide volunteering day where we go out in the community on different sites. We're looking to lead to faster volunteer site transformations, as well as start a new program called Go Mad Moments, which will reward acts of kindness throughout the student body. So, yeah.
I think Stephen summed that up very well. Thank you, Stephen. With more leaf blowers, we can actually help on campus. That's probably our most difficult task to fill during GoMad. And so by adding more leaf blowers, it can take some of the strain off of our student population that is doing those charitable works. And then we can affect more people in our community as well as help on campus a great deal more. The Go Mad Moments piece really is a collaboration, which really kind of started between myself and Dean Kripe. And it's meant to recognize all those awesome things that are done on campus. And hopefully we can incorporate important people, significant people from campus to actually bring those meals to the students at an athletic event and increase athletic attendance as well.
All right, we can roll the video.
Hey everybody, my name is Andy Kripe. I'm the Dean of Student Affairs at Northwood. And Coach Pat Rietma, when I first started at Northwood in 1996, had a mantra for the football team, and it was "Go Mad." It means go make a difference. And at that time, it was only for the football team. And as most of you know, Coach Rietma died in 2015. Prior to his death, he made an impact on literally thousands of students, faculty, and staff here at Northwood University. And prior to his death in 2015, he gave his blessing for us to use "Go Mad" as a mantra for the entire university. So we went to work right away in fall of 2015, and we had our first Go Mad Day. The goals of Go Mad Day are threefold. Number one, we want to honor his legacy along with his wife, Sherry's legacy, who died in 2020. Number two, we want it to be a day of action. We want the entire university family to go out into the community, make a difference, and help those in need. And number three, it's a day where we challenge each other to have our eyes and our hearts open every single day, the other 364 days of the year, to make a difference in other people's lives. So that's what Go Mad Day is all about.
On the first Friday of every November, we go mad, or go make a difference in the community. We average 700 volunteers each year and have totaled 15,000 volunteer hours in just 9 years' time. One of the largest requests we have for volunteers is raking leaves, which is also the most physically demanding of all the volunteer opportunities. With a greater number of leaf blowers, we could greatly increase the amount of community members that we help out, with causing less physical discomfort for our volunteers. We would purchase Stihl BR 800 backpack leaf blowers. This would total $5,600 and would be maintained by Northwood's physical plant. Not only would we be able to volunteer on the first Friday of November, but we would be able to extend more volunteer opportunities in the future each year. Additionally, the backpack leaf blowers would be able to help with the vast amount of leaves on Northwood's campus, as well as in the springtime, helping with grass clippings and other things like that that need to be maintained on Northwood's campus.
Here, let me help you. Thank you.
Liz, that was so nice. You are truly making a difference on this campus.
Thank you.
Taking Go Mad beyond one day, Student Affairs would like to capture Go Mad Moments. This would be a program where faculty and staff members would recognize acts of kindness and selflessness on Northwood's campus. The staff member who witnessed the act of kindness would write up what they saw as a form of nomination to help recognize the student who did the act of kindness. The nominated student may be recognized at an athletic game, as well as served a light meal by significant Northwood staff members, such as the Dean of Students, the Athletic Director, or even President Kent McDonald and First Lady Mary Ellen McPhee. The student would receive a special Go Mad Moments shirt, as well as be recognized at an athletic game, promoting the idea of making a difference.
Every day is a precious gift from God, and I'm fighting a disease, and but I'm not going to let the cancer stop me from impacting young people.
Let's continue to build the legacy of Pat Rietma. And together, let's go mad! Right, y'all?
All right, awesome job. I'm going to move on to the next group. Next group is DECA Day, and that is with students Ethan Ward and Kennedy Williams. And they are advised by Patrick McElgan. So if we could have you guys come on live. Hi. If you guys want to introduce yourselves and your project real quick, and we'll roll that video.
Yep, so my name is Ethan. I'm a third year here at Northwood, and I've been a part of DECA Day for the past 3 years.
My name is Kennedy. I'm a freshman here. I've only been a part of DECA Day for 1 year.
Hey everybody, Patrick McElgan. I have the privilege of being the DECA advisor for both Ethan and Kennedy and 60 other students this year, and we're super excited to be able to present to you a great opportunity that we're looking forward to taking forward and growing in the years to come.
All right,
Yeah.
let's roll that video.
DECA Day, Northwood DECA's Project 100 submission. To best illustrate what DECA Day is, I need to split this into 2 parts. What is DECA, and what is our Project 100 submission specifically? So what is DECA? DECA is an organization which helps students develop leadership, career readiness, and business skills, and they do this in 4 main competitive areas, which are marketing, hospitality and tourism, finance and accounting, and business management and administration. But who actually is in DECA? DECA is split into 2 parts, high school and collegiate. High school DECA is larger and focuses on using pencil and paper to solve problems at 3 major competitions throughout the year, which are their district, state, and international competitions. Collegiate is similar, but only has around 5,000 members and solves real-world issues using business applications such as Word, PowerPoint, Excel, QuickBooks, and SAP. They also only have 2 major competitions throughout the year, which are their state and international competitions. There are 4 different types of events, with each section having varying time restraints or activities which vary from solving a problem to managing a virtual business over the course of a year. They each vary, and this allows for students to find exactly what they wish to excel in. So now that we know what DECA is, let's find out what our Project 100 submission is. DECA Day, at its core, brings hundreds of high school students to campus every year to let them experience a mock competition and receive feedback, while our collegiate students get to see from the perspective of a judge, which can improve their own competition readiness. But what does the day actually look like? DECA Day is split into 5 main sections, which every high school student will rotate through. The opening and arrival, where they get to Northwood on buses, check in, and attend our opening ceremony. Testing, where students take a written test to check their knowledge in one of the 4 competition areas which I previously discussed. Role plays, which throw a problem at students to solve individually or in a team. The workshop, which answers questions about Northwood and prepares students to professionally present in front of a judge or in formal environments. And finally, awards, which is where students can see how they rank against each other and receive their scores and feedback before heading back to their schools. But how does DECA Day actually impact Northwood? DECA Day gets 60 to 90 student volunteers and over 80 DECA students which will participate at different levels of DECA Day. It gives students resume level experience, gives them opportunity to participate in the extensive planning which happens months in advance. It assists in reaching out to recruit more members for our DECA chapter. It gives more opportunities for fundraisers and builds a solid foundation for student futures. But this isn't all. DECA Day also does an excellent job promoting the Northwood idea, bringing high schoolers to campus, funding DECA activity, creating connections between students, fostering student engagement, increasing the overall footprint of DECA, and it succeeds in cementing Northwood as Midlands University. Now that we know this, what will the money from Project 100 actually go towards? Our group spends a lot of money on many items, such as renting tables and chairs, paying for the paper and ink for thousands of papers, or paying for the top 3 medals. We also pay for videography and photography for advertisement and pay for the food and drinks for the students. Additional funding helps reduce our financial burdens. It allows us to create a more beneficial event for high schoolers and continue to have Northwood students lead one of the largest events on campus as we improve it year after year. A better DECA Day means that more students will enroll at Northwood. The Northwood brand will become more widespread. The campus will gain more activity. They'll fund competition for Northwood DECA chapter and allow Northwood students to grow the next generation. The money from Project 100 will last for years to come, influencing thousands of high schoolers and hundreds of undergraduate and graduate students.
Great job. We're gonna again save Q&A for the end, and I'll move on to our third project, which is Lights, Camera, Action with Lila Bolden and Alex Carlson from our Student Signature Events team. And they are advised by Jen Carpenter. Thank you, Lila and Alex, for being here today. You want to introduce your project and then we'll get your video rolling.
Thank you, Julie. As Julie mentioned, my name is Lila Bolden, and I'm accompanied by Alex Carlson, the leader of the Signature Events team here at Northwood. We are here tonight to share with you our Project 100 proposal titled Lights, Camera, Action, where we are seeking $10,000 to put towards the purchase of photo booth equipment. The goal for this project is to reduce costs for the university, elevate campus and signature events, and build student skills by renting out the photo booth equipment to different registered student organizations or RSOs on campus. Thank you so much for having us here tonight, and we are excited to share more about our project with you.
I'm here with Steven, the biggest man on campus. Steven, do you think that we should have a photo booth for students to use at events?
That would be so cool. That would be so cool.
Yeah, but it'd be owned by the C team. We would use it all events, rent out to other student organizations.
That would be amazing. That would be super cool.
All right, who am I here with?
Professor Jennifer McDermott.
And what do you teach on campus?
I teach marketing communications.
Awesome. And my question for you is, do you think that a photo booth would be beneficial for RSOs on campus?
Ooh, a photo booth. That's a great idea. You're making some of the best memories that you can on campus right now, and you're going to remember these days forever. But what a great, I still have photo strips from when I was in college and when I was younger, and I think that would be really fun for the students.
Yes. Who am I here with?
Matilda.
Haley. And do you guys think that a photo booth would be beneficial for clubs on campus?
Yeah, of course it would be fun and we get to know more people.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Thank you guys.
All right, I'm here with
Carly.
And Carly, do you think that having a photo booth on campus would be useful for student events?
Oh yes, I think it'd be a great investment because it'd really elevate our signature events.
Now that you've heard from some of our students and staff, we would love to introduce you to our Project 100 submission of Lights, Camera, Action. My name is Lila Bolden.
And I'm Alex Carlson.
And we're so excited to share more about our submission for photo booth equipment to benefit students in all RSOs, save the university money on photo booth services, and elevate event experiences.
The issue that we're seeing is that Northwood University spends thousands of dollars on photo booths at events. There's an identified need for an easier, more accessible solution for RSOs who want photo booths at their events but don't want to have to pay tons of money.
What's our solution? Our solution is the purchase of photo booth equipment to be rented for use at Northwood University events. It is modern, easy to use, self-sustaining, cost-effective, and portable. Our purpose. Our mission statement is to provide Northwood University with high-quality, in-house photo booth services that enhance university events, reduce costs, and offer valuable learning opportunities for students. Our vision statement is to create sustainable and accessible photo booth services at Northwood University that elevate signature events, foster student growth, and save on photo booth expenses while promoting a vibrant, engaging atmosphere at every occasion. What's included? With our photo booth package, It includes the Salsa photo booth, which you see on the right, a 2-year warranty, a carrying case, 1 year of Fiesta Pro software, and an Atlas backdrop and stand.
Every great photo booth needs a photo printer, and this is the printer bundle that we have selected. The DMP DS620A is the photo printer. It's recognized as one of the best printers for photos on the market right now. That also will come with a 4x6 photo print kit, which is the capacity to print either 1600 4x6 prints or 3200 2x6 prints. This will also include an Aircast Pro 3 wireless print server. Time to talk about a bit of money. So with the $10,000, we would use that to go into the photo booth package that Lila talked about earlier. That will cost $4,900. The printer bundle that I just talked about will cost $1,700. An iPad that we use to actually take the photos, and miscellaneous expenses. The iPad that we have selected is an iPad from the most recent year, 11 inches, silver, 512 gigabytes of storage, standard glass with Wi-Fi. Miscellaneous expenses would largely be stuff like the print kit after the initial package runs out, as well as the Fiesta Pro software, which we would buy monthly based on which months we need to have events in.
And we would also make sure that we are charging the RSOs to rent this photo booth. Right now we're looking at about $100 without printing and $150 with printing for students that rent that photo booth equipment.
Thank you so much for your time and consideration, and we look forward to talking with you about our proposal.
Thank you so much. That was another awesome presentation by Alex and Lila. We are going to move to our Q&A portion of the evening. So I am just gonna go ahead and start right away. This first one is for the, oops, it keeps moving on me, sorry. The Rake Go Mad team. Thank you for carrying on the legacy of the Rietma family, as they're very special to Northwood. The 5K investment related to the blowers. There are numerous mentions to using them on campus. What is the expected use ratio of Go Mad to use on campus? I guess on campus versus off campus.
That's a great question. We already have a small number of blowers on campus. So the majority of the time, these blowers would be used off campus. If they were being used on campus, they would be used by students to help with on-campus activities. So the idea was to increase our ability to affect. This year we raked 20 yards. So our thought was that we could increase that number. They're the last thing to get signed up for because it's so difficult. So we're hoping to be able to help more people in the community.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next question. I think this is still for you. Just a second, sorry. Where does it keep moving? All right, Dan, maybe you can help me with that. I can't. Oh, there it is. Sorry. All right. Have you ever conducted a survey among students to determine which community projects they would be interested in supporting? Again, I think that's back to you, Spencer or Stephen.
We haven't really done an actual survey except for when we do the sign up genius. Students sign up in those yards that we're raking. They seem to be the thing that is asked for the most. And we really often almost have to beg students to do it just because they know they're going to be sore the next day. A lot of our students are athletes and a lot of them are competing the next day in an athletic event. And so that was, I guess, our survey, because I know that when we give them a backpack blower, they get really excited because it's not going to hurt so bad.
All right, this one's for Decaday team. How is Decaday currently funded? So that's question one. And then how many current Northwood students came to Northwood as a high school day Decaday participant? Go ahead.
Okay, those are great questions, and Ethan, you can feel free to chime in here after I touch on a few numbers. But Decaday is currently funded primarily out of the budget that we have for our RSO, for our chapter, and so we front the money for the event, to pay for the food, the tables, the chairs, all the medals, and anything else that goes along, all the materials that we need to actually put the event on. But in addition to that, we do need to actually charge the schools, the high school chapters that come, and it's usually a cost per student, which right now this year it was $20 a student. And so by utilizing the funds that we would potentially get from Project 100, it would actually allow us to still cover those expenses for actually many years to come, while also reducing the cost burden to those high school students and their respective clubs, with the hope of being able to actually bring in more students. We've averaged about 300 students the last couple of years, or just under 300 students the last couple of years. Our max capacity is between 400 and 500 students. And so we would love to get to that number. And I think by being able to have some funds to cover those costs so that we can make it more accessible to those high school students, we can start to hit those. In terms of students attending or committing to Northwood because of Decaday, that part is, I don't have the exact numbers, but what I can tell you is approximately 10% of the incoming freshman classes the last 2 years have joined DECA when they've come onto campus that first fall.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Kennedy, are you not a perfect example? Share your
Yeah,
story.
I'm a living example of that. So I was able to go to Decaday my senior year in high school, and I had been on the fence about what university I wanted to go to. And after Decaday, I sent the text message to my parents before I even got back home and was like, we're putting down my deposit tonight. Like, I am going to Northwood and I'm going to do DECA at Northwood.
Yeah, and we do get a lot of incoming freshmen that do join DECA, and by allowing DECA Day to have separate finances, we're able to balance our finances between our DECA chapter and RSO and the actual DECA Day event, which will help us greatly.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Group 3 photo booth. Who will maintain photo booth?
So the maintaining of the photo booth would be done by SEAT team, specifically the Signature Events alumni team here at Northwood. We do a lot of the volunteer work, or actually all of the volunteer work at the big signature events. So a lot of our students have that responsibility that is needed to be able to take care of those different pieces of equipment. So it would be 100% maintained by the SEAT team, and we will be able to find students that are responsible to take care of that equipment and be at any of the events that we need them to be at.
And yeah, well, I think I mentioned earlier, your advisor is Jen Carpenter, who leads all of our signature events, and our signature events are, we have outstanding business leaders, we have distinguished women, we have the auto show gala. So those are just some of the events that Jen oversees, and she has her student team that supports her in these events. And multiple other events on campus. So just to clarify what signature events means. All right, we've got another question for you guys. Just a second. Where did that go? How did you determine what to charge to rent the photo booth? Have you decided if someone will stay with the equipment so it doesn't get damaged? We thought about that. And where will it be stored? So number one, charge, how do you determine that?
So that was a combination of looking at kind of market rates, what people can get right now. We wanted to undercut that by at least 50%, and we've actually undercut it by a little bit more than that. And then furthermore, just the expenses of the printer paper, the cost of running the software that we have to provide. So all those kind of costs added up. Again, we're not trying to make a profit on this or anything, so we're just trying to cover our expenses, and that's where we got our numbers from that. For the rest of them, I think Lala could probably give a bit more insight.
Yeah, could you repeat the other two
Yeah,
questions?
sure. will someone from your group stay with the equipment when it's rented so it doesn't get damaged? Have we thought about that? And then where will it be stored?
Yes, so actually we have put together something that we didn't mention in the video is we have put together a rental agreement. So when these RSOs rent out this equipment, they will sign a rental agreement that says any damages that are put on the equipment by any of the guests or any of the event staff. So that would be any of the students that are running the event from the other RSO. They would be the ones in charge of any of those expenses. Other than that, it would be stored in the church building. So that's where it would be stored with all of the other signature event equipment that we have. So we've already talked with Advancement, Julie, Robin, we've talked with Advancement about having it there. And yeah, other than that, yeah.
Okay.
That answers the question pretty well.
Yeah, yes, good answer. Okay. Question for you guys again. Can you frame in the value of this solution as opposed to current tools that might be used for photos, filters, social media platforms? What is the incremental increase in the value of this solution? Basically, if we didn't have this, what other options would you have?
Yeah, so right now, what we usually do for photo booth equipment at events is we use a company that is sort of local called Mammoth Company. They charge us usually somewhere around $3,500 for one singular event. So this would be a huge decrease in expenses for the university. Other than that, we also, with the package that we have selected, we are able to personally brand things to Northwood. So if the RSO has different things that they want to be included on like a photo booth strip. If they have any branding that they want to put on there, that is also an option that they can have. So it elevates it more from just taking photos on your phone or posting different photos from social media. You can also get digital versions of these. Like we mentioned, if you don't use printing, you can also get digital versions, which you can post on your social media as well.
And, that cost is, simply not feasible for a lot of the student organizations. So by us taking this on, yes, we can use it at the larger Northwood events, and save the school a lot of money there. But then we can also give it out to the student organizations, which is a cost they just simply would not be able to afford right now, so.
Exactly. And something that we have mentioned before when talking about this project is it could be used at different sporting events. It can be used at bigger events like fashion show or Stafford dinner. And it could also be used at graduation. This is something that we can really use to elevate campus events and bring something that they've never seen before.
All right, thank you. I've got another question for you guys. Would this be used for signature events like the Auto Show Gala, and maybe other events like Woody's Tap Room? If donors are sponsoring this, is it necessary to charge RSOs? And what would that rental fee go to? So just remind us who you're charging, why you're charging, and where that would go.
So again, because this is part of the signature events and alumni team, a lot of those, some of the more alumni events, obviously it doesn't make sense for us to pay ourselves. So those probably won't be charged the same way, although they might in a more kind of different way. We'll look into that with Julie, how that'll work out.
Yeah.
But for the RSOs, again, we're not trying to make money on it. This is simply going to cover our costs related to running the photo booth. We have all the software. We have if you get printers, that takes different paper that we ran through, and all those different aspects are obviously costing us money for every single event. So based on, how much we're able to sustainable, it is, we'll try to minimize that cost as we go. Right now, our best guess is about that number. It's a floating rate that, if we have a lot of RSOs, a lot of interest, we've already had a good bit of interest, but, once we actually get things live running, we get a really accurate picture. If we can lower rates, we would love to. We just do not want to come in promising only charging so much and end up charging double that. So again, this is kind of a worst case scenario. We would never be charging RSO more than what we're quoting right now. And hopefully we can lower it from then. It's just to cover our expenses.
That makes sense. Some online might not be familiar with RSO, which is a Registered Student Organization. Spencer might be able to answer this for me. How many of those do we have on campus-ish? Close to? Yes, no? 50?
I think it's closer to 30, I believe.
30? Okay, all right, thank you. That's good, that's close.
Julie,
So,
if I could add to
yeah,
that a
go ahead.
little bit. Also just talking about a little bit more about the photo booth. I don't know if Alex mentioned this specifically, but going back to cost, for us to get that printer kit like we did before, like Alex mentioned, it's about 1,600 4x6 and 3,600 of the photo strips. To refill that package, it's about $130. So with doing the 150, we would be able to cover those costs and have a little more. So for like the signature events where we possibly wouldn't want to charge as much, we would be able to cover costs for those as well. And also the question about Woody's Step Room, the alumni would just have to rent that, and we would be there to run the booth and also get those photos. So it would be used for donors as well that contribute, and they would see also the effects of this project.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're gonna give you guys a little bit of a break and move on to DECA. So if you allocate 10K for next year's DECA Day, how will you ensure continued support for future DECA Day?
So the plan actually isn't to put it just to our next event. We plan on using the money for years to come. So this can be done in two ways. So we can use this money as a just startup cost that we'll be able to bank our money that we make from DECA Day, so from high schools and high school students as just a bank, so we can use those startup costs that we need. So tables obviously cost money, and we have to pay those out of pocket normally. So this will help with that. Another way that we use this money is we can continue to do what we've been using or been doing for our past years. And over the next 5 to 10 years, we use 1,000 to 2,000 of those dollars in order to cover some of those costs, which means that we have to worry less and we're able to be more financially stable, and we can put more money back into DECA Day.
All right, thank you, Ethan. Okay, moving on to Rake a Difference, Go Mad. Are there other expenses that should be included with this, such as protective gear, glasses, ears, gloves? Have you thought about other expenses? Stephen or Spencer, that was for you guys.
Yes, we haven't actually, that isn't something that we've actually talked about in terms of adding additional, but that's a really good idea, and we wouldn't be opposed even to backing off on one of the leaf blowers to increase that type of protection. That's actually a really great suggestion.
All right, thank you. All right, another question. Have you ever thought about partnering with other organizations such as Humane Society or Veterans Organization to offer other opportunities for students other than leaf cleanup?
We reached out to every United Way sponsored organization this year. I checked with the United Way to find out what those were, to find out, and we don't just do leaf cleanup. That's just the last one that people sign up to do because it's the toughest. We assembled meals, we sewed strings on mittens, we labeled library books, we went to different schools and popped popcorn. We did whatever the community asked us to do. We stepped up and tried to fulfill those obligations. This was just because that's our toughest area to fulfill, and it seems to be the greatest need in the community.
Thank you. Back to DECA. Do you partner with the Northwood admissions team? It seems like it's a great event to help build their pipeline of students.
Yes, we work a lot with admissions actually. So admissions works with us closely during DECA Day, and they do anything from helping us find potential high schools to actually partner with. They help us get name tags for all the students, and they also help get students to actually come and stay at Northwood. They do a really good job at that year by year, which is why the number of DECA students is so large. We have the largest RSO on campus, and I believe the second largest on campus aside from the football team overall. And overall, we just do a really good job with admissions. We also work with many other departments inside of Northwood. So we have to reserve many different buildings. We have to get catering involved. All these different groups are a part of DECA Day. And that gives a lot of opportunities for Northwood students to actually get involved in this and find ways to make this a more engaging experience for both Northwood students and for high schoolers.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
go ahead,
if
Patrick.
I could build on that,
Yeah.
so the other thing too is admissions is actually fairly heavily involved in the early part of the planning process in terms of ensuring that we're picking a date that is conducive with other things going on in some of the school districts, as well as making sure that we're navigating around other events happening on campus. We actually worked with admissions this last year or this past fall to utilize their Slate platform, their CRM that they have, so that when chapters and when students sign up, they get actually added directly into admissions database. So then they can begin actually following up with these students immediately following DECA Day. So now they are actually in our pipeline, and the admissions reps in their territories help us promote the event with the professor or with the teachers and with the students as early as May, before the students get out of school, but especially once like August or September hits and everyone's back in to start the semester.
Thank you. All right. Next question, Rake a Difference group. In years past, supplies for Rake a Difference have been purchased over and over and routinely not returned at the end of the day. How will you manage the storage and use and return of the leaf blowers? Who will maintain them? Do you have these issues? Do you anticipate these issues?
We actually, Stephen was one of the helpers at the rake table. We sign those out and we sign those back in. We keep a pretty close count on the rakes, where they're going, and make sure that they do come back. We didn't have any loss this year in terms of rakes, other than the ones that got broken from raking. So they were all returned, as well as all of the backpack leaf blowers and walk behind blowers that we used.
Yeah, and I would just like to add to that. Yeah, everything was returned, and we have a pretty efficient system with keeping track of the equipment. But one thing is that we kind of had to scatter it throughout the day in terms of equipment, because one, since there's not that many leaf blowers that we had access to this year, basically RSOs would, or whoever was involved in raking leaves off campus, if they were late, if they didn't bring it back in time, then we would have another volunteer group without a leaf blower. So it's a margin of error thing as well. If we increase the amount of leaf blowers that we have, then it becomes easier to actually keep track of the equipment counterintuitively. So
Good call. Didn't think of that. Okay. Real quick, what does DECA stand for?
So
Okay, I'll take this. Oh, you got it, Ethan? Go for it.
you go for it. You go for it. You started first.
Okay. So DECA, they don't actually really use the acronym anymore. It really is, DECA is just DECA. However, when it was first founded and for a long time, it stood for Distributive Education Clubs of America.
Okay. And I think in your brief description in the beginning of the video, it talked about the business competitions that you guys participate in. So it's obviously very in line with Northwood University and what we offer. Okay. Almost getting to the end of these questions. All right, lights, camera, action. Will you be providing any sort of props with your photo booth rental, or are renters responsible for supplying their own props?
Sure.
Have we
So,
got that?
so there's a few options. We'd be happy to use some of Northwood's step repeats. If you've been to a Northwood event, you've seen the large kind of backdrop that just says Northwood University over and over again, stepping and repeating, if you will. But the package that we have comes with a Atlas backdrop, which is just kind of a plain white backdrop with some kind of a graphite almost background design to it. So that's a simple design. And then you can also work with a lot of things. One unique thing that this gives us the ability to do is to make custom cards. So even if they don't have an exact backdrop they want to use, they can always customize their individual photos to make the outline and stuff like that fun and exciting. So we always, we can either work with them, or we have some options that we can use in-house and provide for them.
And also to add on to that, At things like Auto Show Gala, we actually end up making our own props based off of the theme. So that isn't something that's new to Northwood, but that is also something that we could look into in the future, whether it's like they want to have the fun glasses or other things that you see at photo booths. A lot of times the issue with those though is sometimes they're like cheaply made in cardboard, so we don't want to be investing in something that wouldn't be sustainable and wouldn't be able to be used over again. So it is really what people say, and once we get into using this, we'll send out surveys and see what people want to see more of from the photo booth.
Thank you. All right, Deca Day, how would this 10K investment help you grow your group over time?
So I can answer that pretty well. It was touched on slightly in the video, but I don't know if we put enough emphasis behind it. Also, there's two ways you could look at how you say group. So our DECA chapter here at Northwood, it would help grow it because right now we're paying out of pocket from our group's budget to actually pay for the cost of DECA Day. So by getting $1,000 or $2,000 a year away from the cost of DECA Day, it means that our chapter is able to use that money to send our group to competitions or fund events that we host on campus. And we host events on campus every month. We do competition prep. We have food events. We have business preparation events. And we're hoping to bring speakers as well on the campus for events and majors that students have. In terms of growing DECA Day, having, if that's what you mean by the group, having more money means that we're actually able to get more done during the day. We're able to offer more incentives for students to come, and it makes it more attractive for a high school to actually want to come to DECA Day. I hope that answers the question.
I think so. All right. Lots of thank yous and good jobs. But I've got two more questions. If you add a fleet of leaf blowers, does this mean you might need insurance? Some have high velocity and can break windows as they blow items. Anybody thought about that one?
This is a great question. In looking at the leaf blowers, I turn that over to Tom Pastors, who is the head of
Grounds.
Well, I was trying to think of his technical name, but you're right. But I asked him to specifically give us recommendation in terms of which leaf blowers to use. We already utilize a couple leaf blowers from the university that the university possesses. So we wanted to stay in line with what we already have and what we're already using. And I would be under the assumption that he wouldn't have provided us with something that we couldn't use.
And I will add, the students, for the record, love the backpack leaf blowers. I was taking pictures at the event, and I have so many of just people posing with the backpack leaf blowers. So the still BR800 backpack leaf blowers is a fan favorite over here. So
Okay, thank you for adding that, Stephen. All right, last question. Was gas for the leaf blowers accounted for, or are they electric?
That has been provided through Northwood University in the past. And so that's already been something that we haven't had to even consider in the past. So Tom has been very supportive of this idea because he also knows that it would help with his grounds crew throughout the year.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, no more questions. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna move all of our presenters and their advisors to a green room. And so we can vote while they're not with us, and then we'll bring them back in. So donors, alumni, please hang on the line and we'll do our voting once they're all moved into that green room. While we're waiting, I can also give an update on the most recent, well, actually your voting is up, so go ahead and vote, but I'll also give you an update on our most recent spring Project 100 winner, which was the Northwood Garden Center. So an update is they have actually received a donation of seeds from the Midland Conservation District, and those were planted in the spring. Ivy was planted at Jordan Hall, and they hope to make this a legacy project where graduates can clip a piece of ivy off before they leave and plant it where they land after graduation. And due to winter weather coming up right now, they're going to pick up after spring break and start do some spring planting for some additional items in the garden. So that project's moving and it's ongoing. So we'll just wait another minute or so for voting. I know we also have some proxy votes that came in. So Robin McLaughlin, I know, is in the back adding up those votes as well. So thank you, Robin. If you have any other questions for me, you can feel free to pop those again into the Q&A right now if you have any specific questions for me in the Project 100 program as a whole. Again, I want to thank you all for participating. We've got a lot of members online tonight. I know there's a few newbies, so welcome. Thanks for being here, along with some tried and true members who have probably been with us since the beginning in 2017. So thank you. Okay, I think we can take down the votes. And it looks like DECA wins tonight, even with the proxy votes coming in. So DECA is the winner. So we're going to bring Dan, if you can help me, bring the everyone back. Oh, there you are. Welcome back. Are we all back? Okay. I just want to reiterate, you guys, and I probably say this every time, but all three presentations were amazing. They do get better and better every time. So thank you all. And I'm going to remind all of our presenters today that you can come back in the spring and present again. And if you didn't win this time, you're eligible to come back. And without any further ado, the winner of the fall 2024 Project 100 is DECA Day. Congratulations to DECA Day. You guys,
Thank you so much, everyone.
you guys won the majority vote.
Yep.
So congrats, and don't leave. Again, I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined us online tonight. Thank you to all of our donors. Save the date for April 9th, 2025. We have already scheduled our next Project 100 session. So save that date. And we'll be following up with everyone tomorrow with an email with some additional information and some reminders. So thank you again, and we'll see everyone in the spring, if not before then.